understand that the misfit is part of the methodology of God. He never intended for you to fit. If you would have fit in with the Hebrews, you can't lead what you fit in with. If you would have fit in with the Egyptians, you can't rebuke a devil you've been sleeping with.
This is the potter's touch.
Maybe you've been down in a rut saying, Lord, why did I have to go through that? Why? I want you to understand you need to stop whining and understand that these were steps on the road to destiny. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and you ought to delight as God delights in the way. Because, my friend, nothing that you've been through shall be wasted. Jethro told Moses to lead the sheep. Oh, smelly, dirty, stinky. Sheep look good on them pictures and stuff, but I was out in Jerusalem and I actually got to go out there where the sheep were. See, when you see them in the picture, you can't smell the picture and stuff, but when you actually go out there where the sheep are, yes, it'll make you carry some Glade and some Lysol and some Pine Sol. And you know how white they are in the pictures and stuff? In real life, oh, no. That's photo enhancement. Yeah. It's a kind of, it's not odor, it's odor. This is a French term. Yes, indeed. They should bottle this for insecticide or something. I know they don't have to worry about mosquitoes. Nothing would want to bite, nothing smell like that. And he's in this environment. And I know the enemy must have been saying, where is your God now? You out here, I thought you had a mighty destiny. Your mama called you Moses for being drawn out. I thought there was a king and a mighty man and a general in you, and all you going through is survival techniques for a desert you didn't even come up in. Look at you running around here. You're the king of the sheep. Every so often you'll go through a period in your life that seems like all of your real skills are being wasted. It will feel like you're not being used to your highest potential. It will feel like you're living beneath your privilege. And if you're not careful, you will secretly see yourself as a failure because you don't see yourself operating in the way that you dreamed that you would. And he's just running around there saying, at least it didn't kill me. And at least I escaped Egypt. And I'm making the best of a bad situation. And all of a sudden, he has an epiphany. Just walks up on it. Wasn't fasting for it, wasn't praying for it, wasn't talking in tongues, just walked up on it, didn't even expect it, just blew his mind. You know, God is the master of suddenly. I'm going to say that again. See, if you understand that God is the master of suddenly, that means sometimes your life will take a turn you never even saw coming. It won't be no gradual progress, no evolution that leads to a revolution. It'll be suddenly, straightway, immediately, out of nowhere, one phone call, one meeting, one person, one time, one job, and your whole life, everything Everything about the next 40 years is about to change. I don't know who I'm talking to, but get ready, 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 get ready. And God, he's walking through the woods and walking through the desert that he has now gotten used to. He's been there 40 years. He's 80 years old. He's 80 years old before he got it straight. It took him 80 years before he really figured out who he was. I know, ain't it discouraging? He looked at me like I might well just slit my wrist and die. Yeah, 80 years he had an epiphany. 80 years of not being sure and not being secure, and 80 years of not having a definite, and 80 years of not having an absolute, and 80 years of an identity crisis, and 80 years as an uncertainty, and 80 years of not quite fitting in with anybody. He couldn't quite bond with the Egyptians. He couldn't quite bond with the Midianites. He couldn't quite bond with the Hebrews. He was acquainted with all, but connected to none. I want to talk to misfit people. Yeah, misfit people. They come in all colors and both genders. Some are Democrats, some are Republican, some are brunettes, some are redheads, some of them got afros, some of them wear balls, some of them wear fades. Misfit people. Some of them are educated, some of them are not educated, some of them are beautiful, some of them not so beautiful, but they're misfit people. You know this from the inside of you, that no matter what you tried to do to rest in and fit in with people, something always happens that makes you jump up and get out the nest because you never quite fit with anybody. I don't know, it may only be 10 of you in here, but there's a few misfit people who understand what I'm talking about. And see, you don't understand that the misfit is part of the methodology of God. He never intended for you to fit. If you would have fit in with the Hebrews, you can't lead what you fit in with. If you would have fit in with the Egyptians, you can't rebuke a devil you've been sleeping with. If you would have fit in with the Midianites, you would have missed your destiny and built a house in a desert that God never intended for you to stay in. And so that feeling of never fitting in is not that you are lost, it's that God is leading you from faith to faith and from glory to glory, because the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and the Lord delighteth in his way. Nudge your neighbor and say, take another step. You're right on the edge. You're right on the verge. God has you set up. The reason you're in this service this morning is that God's about to give you an epiphany, a burning bush. It's time to take another step into your purpose and into your destiny. If you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, give your God some praise. Look at your neighbor and say, I dare you. I dare you. I double dog dare you to take another step. You're right on the verge of stepping into your purpose, into your destiny. If you don't give up, if you don't baby yourself, if you go ahead and push yourself and get on up out of this mess, I dare you. Yeah. Nudge your neighbor and say, it's not over. God is not finished with you. God is about to do something amazing in your life. Take another step. Take another step. Take another step. Take another step. Take another step.
Still to come on the Potter's Touch.
I'll let you cry. I'll let you learn how to scrape and scrimp and save and do without and make it without this and make it without that and make it without the other. It never meant that I wasn't going to bless you. It just meant that I wanted you to be able to help somebody else who would go through a situation and you can tell them, this is how you make it in this environment, because I've been there myself. And the same God that brought me out of my situation will bring you out. Oh, I feel something in here. Shake your neighbor and say, it's not wasted. When I talk about good being the enemy of great, when you're a very talented person, you don't have to use your full strength to be able to get by, because your environment standards may be lower than greatness. It is easy for you to appear exceptional when you're really gifted, without really studying, without really developing yourself. And in the world, in the street, we call it getting over. And I say that good is the enemy of great, because really talented people can do good without effort. But the tragedy of that compromised greatness is that you never discover who you were meant to be, because they were so easily satisfied with so much less. They missed the opportunity to meet the greater self within you. And so what I am saying to people, that if you think that there is greatness down inside of you, don't let the counterfeit experience of being good stop you from the pursuit of greatness. And when he took that next step, he ran into this epiphany. This, oh my God, this burning bush. Wow, isn't that something? And he kept on going, but he turned aside to see. If I expose you to something and you can keep walking, it's not for you. I was teaching a leadership class. I was mentoring a young pastor. I was teaching a leadership class, and while I was teaching, I could tell that he wasn't connected at all, and I immediately decided not to invest any more energy, because if I expose you to something and it don't draw you, it's not for you. See, if it was for you, even if you try to walk away, if you try to walk away, something will make you turn aside to see. Now listen at the text here, because this is where, oh my God, this is where it gets good. See, God didn't speak to him when he saw the bush. He didn't see it. He didn't speak to him when he was exposed to the bush. But the Bible said that when the Lord saw that Moses turned back around, when he saw that Moses was attracted to what he had been exposed to, God said, now I can talk to you on another level. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. Ask your neighbor, say, how bad do you want it? Yeah. Do you want it bad enough to keep turning back, to look at it again? And I don't know what it means, but it's drawing me. And I don't understand it, but it's pulling at me. And I don't know what's going to come out of it, but some kind of way my destiny is tied to that bush. And I can't walk away from a bush that holds the secret. Oh, my. Oh, I better not do that this morning. I feel like preaching now. Tell your neighbor, your destiny is in the fire. Your destiny is in the fire. If you run from the fire, you will run from your destiny. Your destiny is in the problem. Your destiny is in the storm. Your destiny is in the fight. And when the Lord saw that what Moses had been exposed to kept drawing him back, then God called unto him. God didn't call unto him until he turned aside. When he turned aside, God said, Moses, Moses, have you got something calling you you don't understand? Pulling at you that you can't put your finger on, challenging you. Take off your shoes. For the ground you stand on. What do you mean the ground? This is the ground I stand on every day. I've been standing on this ground for 40 years. Well, how is this holy ground? It wasn't holy last week. It wasn't holy. I'm standing on sheep dung. What's holy about this ground? It's holy because I'm there. Every place, every stage of your life is holy because God is here. So why are you worshiping the last stage? Why aren't you discovering God in the stage of life you're in, rather than wishing for the stage you were in or waiting on the stage you're going to? Why don't you have the bush where you are? Things that make you say, oh. And all of a sudden God says to him, this is holy ground. Say, holy ground. It's ain't this stinking ground ain't no holy ground. Sheep dung all over the floor. How is this holy ground? This ain't no holy ground. Got me out here sweating and working. This ain't no holy ground out here. Up here sucking water out of roots and cactuses and stuff like that. And then killing snakes and all of that kind of stuff. Dealing with serpents and all that kind of stuff. How is this holy ground? Got to watch what water you drink. Some of it's bitter and some of it's not bitter. How is this holy ground? This don't make no sense. Take off your shoes! The ground you stand on is holy ground. If you curse the way God led you, you will not reach the place he's taking you to. So here he is. And God says to him, now I'm going to show you why I took you this way. You were trying to lead the children of Israel someplace you had never been yourself. And if I would have let you lead 40 years ago, you would have led them into a wilderness that neither one of you had ever seen before. But I let you go through the wilderness first. So that now when you get ready to lead somebody, you will have some credibility through the things you have suffered. Am I preaching to somebody in here? I let you suffer. I let you cry. I let you learn how to scrape and scrimp and save and do without and make it without this and make it without that and make it without the other. It never meant that I wasn't going to bless you. It just meant that I wanted you to be able to help somebody else who would go through a situation and you could tell them, this is how you make it in this environment because I've been there myself. And the same God that brought me out of my situation will bring you out. Oh, I feel something in here. Shake your neighbor and say, it's not wasted. It's not wasted. What you went through, how you suffered, how you cried, how you had to scrape, how you had to raise them kids by yourself, how you had to work 2 jobs, how you had to scratch your way up. It is not wasted. I was almost grown before I realized that when we were little, we were poor. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I do remember not knowing what spaghetti sauce was. Because you remember how Mama used to cook noodles and pour ketchup on it? What is a meatball? I didn't know that. How could you be somebody who takes your kids to ballets and plays and symphonies and then go home and feed them spaghetti and ketchup? From spaghetti and ketchup on one side to ballets and symphonies on the other. The spaghetti and ketchup is saying one thing, and the ballet and symphony is saying another. My father was a janitor with a mop and a bucket and turned it into a business. And I used to hear him talk about taxes and corporate taxes and what had to be paid in quarterly taxes. And the quarterly taxes, if you don't pay the quarterly taxes, you're going to be penalized. I wasn't paying no attention. I was playing in the back. It's tired and hot, sitting in the car at Miss Rutherford's house. At Miss Rutherford's house for hours in the car. They'd have put our parents in jail now for leaving us in the car. It is hard for men to accept areas of failure. We gravitate to areas of success. We love to do whatever we do well and ignore whatever we don't do well. And when David came over the hill, this wasn't like the lion, it wasn't like the bear, and it wasn't like Goliath, and it wasn't like the 100 men that he had killed and cut off their foreskin. This time David got gotten.
Come on now.
And there he was. He went from division to number 2. He went to being defeated. And he was defeated because they were divided. And you will be defeated if your house is divided. Not just the man, the woman too. You can brag all you want to about being able to bring in the bacon and fry it up in the pan. But I want to tell you something, woman. Going out there and getting the bacon, and coming home and cooking the bacon, and carrying the carton out in the trash, and setting the trash out every morning by yourself, and playing man and woman might be fun when you're 20. It might be fun when you're 20, but as life passes and seasons roll, you're gonna get tired of playing the Hulk. And it is easier. 2 are better than 1. That's what the Bible said. Woe unto the one that falleth alone, because you have not another to pick him up. The problem today is we want prefab houses. It's easier to go get somebody else's husband than it is to develop. See, nobody wants to do the work of building the kid. They want to scream at the child. They want to beat the child. They want to yell at the child. But the child has learned a lot of that behavior from what was modeled in front of them. And you have to get down on the ground level wherever they are, even if it's a juvenile detention center. You got to go where they are and start building that child block by block by block while people are talking about you, while they're criticizing you, while they're saying, where's your God? And I thought you were a Christian. You don't have time to worry about what people think on the outside, because this family thing is too important for me to be yelling back at my neighbors. I'm trying to build something out of these broken pieces that God has given me. A winning mighty man of valor losing makes you sick. It makes you sick. The cold taste of bile coming up in your mouth at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning is your masculine secret. While she sleeps, you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and wonder, do you still have what it takes? Because that last one took so much out of you that you're smiling, but your joy is gone, and the gleam has gone out of your eye, and you're screaming though your lips don't open. And the worst part of the masculine scream is that the feminine ear cannot hear our frequency. You cannot fix a physical problem with a spiritual solution. Sisters, more Jesus ain't gonna make you more wife. 1 Timothy 5:7, if any provide not for his own house, for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith. He has denied the faith. If you don't take care of what's yours, you have denied the faith. And it's worse than an infidel. An infidel is somebody who had an opportunity to receive truth and rejected it. An infidel, the Bible says you are worse than an infidel if you don't provide for your house, all right? God said you had the opportunity to make that house work, but you starved it. You're worse than an infidel because you were exposed to something that you rejected, though you stayed in the house. Infidel. Oh, infidelity. Root word infidel, primary meaning you rejected an opportunity. You know why you rejected an opportunity? Because you felt like you were rejected. You know why you felt like you were rejected? Because she didn't get the signal. And there he was, discouraged. And here, ladies, is where bitterness breaks out in the heart of men, because a man can be discouraged and never tell you. He can be discouraged and still come home every night. He can be discouraged and say, what's for dinner? And don't worry, I've got that handled and I'm going back to work. And he can get up out of the bed every day and move about his chores and be secretly discouraged. And I hate to be this brutal and this honest and this transparent, but ladies, he can have sex and be discouraged. In fact, he can have it and be unhappy, and he can have it and be miserable, and he can have it and be at the end of his rope, and he can have it and send you flowers for your anniversary and still want to leave.